next level.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today is Wellness Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everybody. We are halfway there, and today we are talking about the power of the morning routine and how to start your day off on the right foot and with that right tone. So today I have some of our magnificent and wonderful contributing writers. I'm going to go ahead and let these ladies on in this morning. Hey, good morning, Teresa.
Good morning.
And we've got Lucky there as well.
We do.
Good morning, Felicia.
Good morning.
And we've got Miss Audrey Link in the house coming to us from Canada. Good morning, Audrey. Welcome, ladies, to this Wellness Wednesday. I'm so excited to have you all here to talk about the power of the morning routine, because you ladies know that the way that we start out our day, the way that we get up out of bed is going to be the way that our whole entire day is set. You know how when they say, if you like stub your foot, right? And you just have a nasty attitude because you stubbed your foot, you're feeling bad, you're just all upset, and the whole entire day just goes awry, right? But if you stub your toe, you just kind of shake it off. You know what? I'm just so blessed to be alive. And you start doing some of those things that really help you to feel alive. Your day just starts out just wonderful. So before we begin, let's go ahead and introduce you all. So we'll start with you, Teresa. Just tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about what you do.
Good day, good evening, next day to everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Teresa Palmer. I've got my sidekick Lucky here with me today. He's feeling like he wants to be on the program also. I am a nurse practitioner. My expertise is holistic cardiology. So what I do is I look at the whole person and I look to the underlying, not just treating the symptoms, but what can be done to get to the root of the condition. That is who I am. And I've authored a book called Heal Your Heart from Within. It's available on Amazon.com, on BalboaPress.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Teresa, and thanks for being here with us. All right, we're going to go to you, Felicia.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Felicia Pelto, and I'm similar to Teresa in that aspect of looking at the root cause, but I am from Michigan in Highland. I'm pretty much your weight and hormone health coach, helping women release the shame, guilt, and frustration so they can lose weight and balance their hormones and ultimately live free as a feather in hormonal harmony. So that's my goal. And similar to Teresa, we're all about that root cause and finding, what is it really, and hopefully avoiding medications and unnecessary interventions.
Awesome. Yes. Welcome, Teresa. Welcome, Felicia. I'm so excited to have you here. And Audrey, welcome. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello. So Audrey Ling from cold right now, Drayton Valley, Alberta, Canada. We just had some snow. Yeah. So I'm with Empowered Living. So that's kind of my theme, is to empower people to live their best life, whether that is weight loss or all the way from kidney stones to broken bones. I help through aromatherapy, Ayurvedic practitioner, and nutrition. as well. So yeah, I like the other two ladies, get to the root cause, figure out what's going on, and use some of the tools that I have to help people heal themselves.
Yes, I just love this panel this morning and just all the synergy here. So let's go ahead and jump on into our topic today about our morning routines. So why do you think having a morning routine is so important for our overall wellness, and how does it honestly set the tone for our days? So we're going to go and we'll start with you, Teresa.
Okay. Having a morning routine or a routine, whatever your routine, if you work nights, your routine could be before you go to work at night. But I think having a routine puts you in control. And with that said, the underlying why do morning routines or routines in general exercise self-care? Why is it difficult? And if you look at healthcare statistics, especially in the United States, we're not doing too well. Almost half the people are diabetic, almost half the people have heart disease. Why? Because we've lost that self-awareness. We're not in touch with ourselves. We are as children, but as we mature, we're conditioned by things outside of us, society, and especially women, that we're here to take care of other people. So we don't put ourselves first. And if you don't put yourself first, you don't know what you need. If you're not self aware, you have no idea what you need. You have no idea why it's important. There was a recent study done that showed that only 30% of people commit and continually practice a self care routine, and that people polled in the United States, only 17% of people even knew what self-awareness was. The rest of them had no idea. So if we're talking about fitness and we're talking about health, I think we really need to start with that self-awareness. Who are you? Why should you be self-aware? And the simplest way to do it, to incorporate in a morning routine or any type of day routine, is to get to know yourself by sitting quietly. And that's no phones, no distractions. It's just feeling your breath, connecting to your body, scanning your body. What am I feeling? Am I feeling any tightness? Am I feeling good? Looking at your emotions. It's okay not to feel great, to have emotions such as grief, unhappiness. So all those things are important. I think that then that becomes the basis of your routine. And
Mhm.
then from there, you could start to incorporate your self-care. Because if you start with the self-care and say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, I'm going to do this, well, there's no foundation for it. So it's like putting a roof on a house that doesn't have a foundation. You're skipping ahead to things. You're not going to stay with it because you don't have any idea what your needs are because you're not connected to yourself. So that is my take on everything, health and wellness. It all starts with us, with being aware of who we are, what we need,
Yeah.
and then how to get those needs met, setting time for ourselves to be our first priority. You can't drink from an empty well, and you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. Only then could you help others.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I love that. I love that, having that foundation of self awareness, right? Because we all don't know ourselves unless we sit quiet and learn ourselves. So thank you for that, Teresa. So, Felicia, what's your take on it?
Yeah, just kind of even thinking about the statistics that Teresa shared, um, part of my passion too is, specifically looking at those disproportionately um, more disadvantaged to those diseases like heart conditions, diabetes, metabolic conditions like PCOS, which are typically people of Black descent, people of color, pretty much any melanin in their skin. So unfortunately makes them disproportionately more likely to experience one of those conditions. So that's where, and we know there's a lot of history as to why that may exist, especially here in the United States and the way things are currently. And so the value of a ritual is what I like to call it, which is still a morning routine, but with it having that kind of tone of a ritual, it just seems a little more deeper. It gives more of that spiritual context because you naturally think about a ritual being of something deeper. And so the value of that, right? Like you guys already said, just one thing can kind of throw you off, but it's empowering to be able to stop yourself in the middle of that downward spiral of thinking and go, if this is the worst of my day, this is the best day, right? If the worst of my day is I stub my darn toe, okay, let's keep going, right?
Right.
And to be able to step into that shift so swiftly, which definitely I agree with Teresa in, taking that time for yourself. But I also think about sometimes it does take those outer things before we can dig in. And so sometimes just setting up the foundation or the habit of finding that right time to get up regularly, whatever that time might be. Um, Doing those things, what feels small, like maybe it's having that morning tea. Maybe it's having your supplements that help with cortisol, such as ashwagandha, lemon balm, some holy basil, tulsi. But having that routine where even those small steps, like getting that tea, just that is a calming experience. And
Right.
then drinking that tea and taking that time to really absorb, that sip and every sip. Because I love the aspect where I, think about my whole morning routine has evolved significantly from when I was a single, bachelorette, able to do whatever I want when I wanted, to now being a first time mom and wife. Those responsibilities, right? It's like, and so now I have to be flexible. My morning routine isn't always in the morning, kind of as Teresa had alluded to. Sometimes I have to do certain things in the evening. And I even think about when it comes to exercise, like, it took some time for me to have a positive relationship with exercising. Whereas now, like, I genuinely am like, I can't wait to, do my calisthenics because that just makes me feel so strong. Every time I do, my knee push-ups, I'm seeing like, am I doing more? Am I doing less? Like, but all of that, that's part of that motivation. It took me time to get to that place of being like, I love doing this versus, this feels like a chore, So I really think of, whatever is the easiest first step that you can do that feels like it's for you, even if it's just the waking up and sitting for that time that's dedicated to you. And then you can slowly start to fill it in with those things that help you distress, help you vent, whether that be journaling. Sometimes that can even be talking to a really good friend that is that person that gives you that like pep talk in the morning, like, girl, this is what we're going to accomplish today, XYZ. Let's check in with each other via text message. All right, break, almost like you're getting ready to go out for the big game. So yeah, those are just a few of my thoughts in terms of the importance of that routine.
Love it. Thank you, Felicia.
Yeah.
Right, Audrey. So, why do you think having that morning routine is so important for our overall wellness, and how does it also set the tone of the day for you? Oh, you're muted, hun.
So, living here in Canada, we just went through a time change. So we just sprang forward. So we lost a whole, right?
Yep.
And so that kind of screwed up my whole morning routine, right? It was like, oh my gosh, right? And then also being in the winter months, it's also really dark when I get up. It was starting to get light. I'm like, oh yeah, it's starting to get light, when I get up, and then now it's dark again when I get up. So that kind of messes up the whole routine part of it, especially for me. Like, I mean, I make sure that I'm not too hard on myself with that, with that routine. Kind of doing that changing stuff. So sometimes my routine gets a little bit messed up, but I'm just aware. And then I start my habit stacking again, right? So, get up in the morning or put my feet on the floor and do a little bit of recalibration in my brain as to what my routine is, because that whole change of time,
Right.
just messes it up so much, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is the awareness that Teresa said, be aware of your body. And if you need to change your routine, go easy on yourself.
Right.
And I've recently had to change from trying to do, and I mean trying to do my exercises in the morning. That isn't my thing.
Yeah.
So I had to move it to at night before I go to bed, because that energizes me.
Yeah.
The morning is like, oh my God, I don't want to do it. To at night, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And I sleep better. So you got to find where as well these things that you need to do for your routines need to fit.
Right. Yeah.
And if it's an afternoon routine, maybe that's where you put it. So it's finding what works for you. Not all routines have to be in the morning. I take my vitamins actually after something like this. I don't do it right in the morning when I get up. I look after my animals first in the morning. That's one of my things is spending time with my animals, right? Because they're so calming for me. And I have 2 puppies as well. So it's what works for you in your routine, right? It is the rich and famous. Yes, they have routines that get them to where they are, but they found their routine, right? They found the routine and what works for them. So it's figure out what works for you to make you successful in whatever you're doing.
Yes. Oh, that's good stuff, ladies. Good stuff. Now, look, everybody that's out there, if you're watching live or watching the replay, this is good stuff. So go grab your phones, share. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. So we got about 45 seconds. I want you ladies also to share out to your networks as well. Let's get some more people watching. We got people jumping in and out of this morning. Let's get them watching about that routine. And we're going to come back and talk about that consistency and how we can be a little more consistent. So we will be right back, everybody. All right, and we are back. Oh, let me go ahead and bring Felicia back on the screen here. There we go. We are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. And we are back talking about our morning routines. What's going on, Felicia? You look like you were going to say something, so I was like, what's going on? Go ahead before we get into it.
Sorry, I was trying to share out like you suggested, so I was like, trying to log in.
You are good. No, I shared on it as well. And everybody out there, definitely share this broadcast, whether it be live or whether it be the replay, because this is, again, good stuff. Talking about just really how to get yourself in alignment, right? Because our routines really do, and our rituals, right? They really do help us to get into alignment and really be able to hone in on that self-awareness. I love what you said, Audrey, about, everybody is a little different. I know you said you like to work out in the evening. For myself, I'm going to bed usually by 8 o'clock, 8:30. I'm nodding off. It is not time for me to do that workout. But first thing in the morning, when I get out of that bed, after I do my meditation and do my breath work and everything, I thank, the Lord that, hey, I woke up this morning, I stretch, and then I got to do my workout, right? So I do typically tend to, I schedule walks during the day as well. So when I do start to feel that I'm kind of feeling it, then I go out and I take a walk and stuff too. So it's all about just how, what works for you. It's also, I mean, I love weightlifting. Not a lot of people like to weightlift, right? So it's all up to you. So let's get into our next question. So our next question is really, how do we find that consistency in it? So how can someone who struggles with being consistent and trying to build, a routine, how can we help them to figure out a routine that actually will stick for them? I say that find something fun, right? Because if it feels like work, we're not going to do it. So Teresa, we're gonna go ahead and go to you. How do you feel? What are some of the things that you can tell someone on that's struggling to just get consistent?
Well, I think first off, you have to know that you're empowered. You have the power to create the life that you want. That's
Mm-hmm.
your personal empowerment. And find something that's fun and be compassionate with yourself. You may not be the type that has to do a routine every morning. For myself, I do for the past 24 years, I've been doing yoga and meditation. And I could honestly say I've probably only skipped a few days in all those years, but that's me. Uh, with regard to exercise, I do, like you said, I think scheduling walks, it clears your head, it gets your creativity going. So especially if I'm writing or doing something, I will schedule time to go out, take a walk. I like sports. I love pickleball and tennis.
Fun.
So I do those as often as I can. I think the mistake is when we think we have to do something every day, all the time, at the same time. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a big mistake that we make because we get so conditioned. And you look at ads, you look at things, they tell you do this, do that, do this. Why do you have to have a consistent morning routine? Maybe you want to change it up a little bit. I think as long as you're personally empowered and you're the one making the decision, you don't have to look to the outside. You look to some of the ads, even weightlifting, oh, you have to do it so many times a week. Well, what if you have an interest in it and maybe you want to do it once a week, every other week? Maybe you want to change your times. And I think variety is the spice of life. So I think once we get into a set routine, we're working on autopilot because you just automatically get up, do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to see that a lot when I did go to the gym. People would show up, put in their earphones, spend their 20 minutes, a half an hour. A lot of times I even had patients that would always say to me, oh, I do this all the time, but I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Right.
Well, the reason you're not getting in anywhere with it is because you're just on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, and we do the same thing with eating, with everything else. We go on autopilot. So it's not really us.
Yeah.
It's just the part of our brain, the survival, that's telling us to do this. So I think we really need to look at ourselves and say, what empowers me? I'm the one in charge of my life. What empowers me? If 12 million people are playing pickleball and I don't really want to play pickleball, why should I have to feel like I have to play pickleball? I don't like to go to the gym. Okay, find something else to do. That's my take on it is I think we put ourselves in a box, and this is kind of what society and health dictates. I mean, when you look at a lot of the healthcare guidelines, they always tell you exercise, diet, sleep. Well, that's fine, but what they're leaving out is what does the person really want? Because if these things are also stressing you out, and I
Mm.
know, Felicia mentioned cortisol, stress is what raises cortisol in our body and then drops it to the point where we don't have any. So if we could manage our stress, we could manage our health, we could manage our life. And I think that's something that gets let out. People are told do this, do that. But again, They don't have the self-awareness. They're not in tune with themselves. They're stressed out because they're trying to accomplish these things. And I can't tell you how many patients I've had over the years that get stressed for the fact that they think they need a routine, an exercise routine, go to the gym or whatever 3 times a week, and they don't really wanna do it. Have they lost any weight? No, because they're stressed out. Their body's holding on to every calorie and every ounce of fat that it can,
Mhm.
because when we're in survival mode, it's fight, flight, or freeze. And what that means is you don't digest food properly, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up. It's everything to get you out of that situation because your body and your mind thinks that you're in danger, and we're really not. So I think that's the main reason that a lot of people struggle. Again, it's getting to know yourself,
Mhm.
what you like, make your own rules. You don't have to exercise 3 times a week. You don't. If all these things were so true, our healthcare statistics would be much better than they are,
This is
much
true.
better.
Yeah.
I think it's all what's inside of us, that what I call the inner landscape. Work on that inner landscape, and that's what I do with people. I do a program that I developed called Heart Consciousness. I've been doing it for 24 years, and it's all about self-awareness, self-confidence, getting to know yourself, and then using tools like yoga, meditation, exercise, diet, all those things to then create something that you could work with. But I can't stress enough that the I is what's missing in a lot of what we do or what we feel that we need to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Felicia.
I apologize. Remind me of the question.
Oh, you're
I
fine.
was just
Yeah,
so
so how
entrenched listening to Teresa, I forgot the prompt.
no, you're fine. So how can someone who struggles with consistency build that morning routine that actually sticks for them?
Oh, yes. Well, it always goes back to fun for me, to be honest. Like I have to be having fun. Kind of as Teresa was talking about, like if you're stressed, it's just not gonna work. Like
Mhm.
I think back to when my husband, but at the time we were dating, and he was like, let's go to the gym together. And I know Tiffany, because we've known each other now for a good decade or so, but um yeah, working out, like lifting weights and all that was not my thing. And he was like, let's do that together. Let's have, and so he was very regimented and was like, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this. We're working on this today. And I was like, this is too much. Like, I have to think too much about this, that it stressed me out. I was like, absolutely not. And I started gaining weight, and it
Mm,
wasn't even like muscle. Like, it was just stress of going to the gym and doing that routine with him. And then when I finally was like, you do your thing over there, I'm going to do my thing over here. And what I would do is I'd go in the padded room with the mirrors and do yoga, because I was like, I, correlated that, like, I'm so stressed here that I need to just relax. And so there were times where he even like said to me, like, did you even do anything? Because he kept just seeing me in like the meditation pose the entire time. And I was like, yeah, I was. I was like, I was exercising my spirit because it needed to chill.
right.
And then what's funny is like I actually then started losing weight again. And more or less I was maintaining. That's where I was at the point of maintaining. And so I was like, this isn't maintaining. This is stressing me out, man. Um, and so I tell women all the time, like, we're different than men, right? They do
Mhm.
their thing. We have our thing. There's a reason they can't have babies. There's a reason they do what they do, and we have periods and all that. And we need to be on our own timeline. Like we can't let them manipulate and convince us that we need to be doing what they're doing, because that's where I even joked with him. I'm like, do you want me to act like a man? Like, because having PCOS, I'm like, and I start bodybuilding and really focusing on strength based activities excessively, I'm going to naturally increase my testosterone levels. And then I'm going to become your friend, like as a guy, not as a female, since we manipulate my hormones, sir. I said, so if you want me to stay the beautiful woman feminine person that you met. Let me do what is good for me. Don't be trying to come in here and redirect who I am. Like, you know who I am. So stop trying to change that. And even that sometimes is an aspect of, our awareness of changes that sometimes can influence, or, not to say manipulate us but manipulate us in a way where we feel like we have to change or become something for somebody. And it's like, if there's routines that worked really well for you, stick to those things. And as Teresa even said, sometimes at one time it was yoga for me. One time it was running on the treadmill. And that was after I got my yoga breath really good, that I started being able to get into a good running stride. There was even a point where I started playing Wii Fit when that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Because it was gamified, because I'm being a 90s kid, I'm definitely a gamer. And so things like that really like motivate me when it's like, oh, I'm trying to lose the amount of calories of a fried chicken drum, or, something like that. But just, it made it fun. It's like, oh, you lost the calories of a cup of milk. And I'm like, oh, cool. But it had other things too. Sorry, my little one's here.
Good.
I had other things too. Trying to think of like working out with a friend. So when I did do intense workouts, the only time I found that they were fun was when I was doing it with a girlfriend. Like, I unfortunately, that was the comparison I had in my head too. It was like, I did Insanity. I did like this, like 10 T10, pop, what was it, P90X, and I'd done those, and I was like, and those are intense, and I can't even handle doing this with my husband at the gym. I was like, and I did those programs successfully. And when I reflected back on it, kind of as we're all talking about like that self reflection, I was like, it was because it was with my girlfriends, like my friends that were like, we're not taking this super seriously. If we don't get 100% of the movements, then we're just going to be like, whatever, and keep going. And we were just cheering each other on. Sometimes we laughed, and and it's just that stuff, like being able to laugh in the middle of something as strenuous is already like, I consider it like a cortisol buster, right? Like, we might be giving ourselves physical stress, but psychologically we're not stressed at all. And that's really what's allowing the body to like grow and heal and build itself. And so you really got to find out like what's fun. And I love too what Teresa said, like the variety, because sometimes running on the treadmill wasn't the thing today. It was like, nah, sometimes it was yoga. Sometimes it was calling a girlfriend and randomly being like, you know what, I got a vent. You want to go walk in the park? So we're getting our steps in. We walk 3 miles, and I just got all this kind of stuff off my chest. And she shared something that she wasn't even planning on sharing, but so it's just like finding what just feels easy, and I feel like that's almost counterintuitive because, right, we always, I don't want to say we, but like the fitness industry will say, you got to work for it. No pain, no gain, right? And it's like, well, I mean, some pain we like, right? Like now that I'm working out at night, like Audrey had shared, because I'm putting my baby away to bed, putting her down. So then it's like, all right, now I got that 10 minutes to get it done. But when I'm in the middle of that workout and I'm feeling that pain, in my mind, that's the growth. It's not like that pain that's really discomfort, but it's like, yes, I know it's that discomfort that I want, like in a different way. Whereas when I reflect back on that with my husband, it was like, oh, I don't like this. What is this?
Yeah. I think it is. It's all about keeping it fun. And like you said accountability. That right there was probably in my whole journey. That accountability partner was everything for me and still is today. I still, decades into, my journey here of releasing over 100 pounds, I still have those accountability partners, right? I'm always starting a challenge and I'm starting it with someone, or I'm saying, hey, you know what? What's your goal? Okay, let's hit it together, because you guys always will hear me say better together. And it is. We're so much better together when we're doing things like this, especially when it comes to, fitness, health and wellness, right? Telling someone, I mean, being able to be honest about what you ate, and sharing your journal. I keep a food journal. Sharing your food journal with that accountability partner, things like that will definitely help you to stay consistent. So we're going to go ahead and go to you, Audrey. Oh, you're muted.
Forgot. Consistency. I'm not a consistent person. I have to have change. My ex-husband was a routine person. Like, I mean, I knew what he was doing every morning, and I knew what he was doing when he came home. But I'm not a routine person. I do like change. So my consistency is just making sure that sometime during the day, I do get the things that are important to me done, right? Like a workout, like eating properly. For me, a lot of times in the morning, and it's going to happen here in the summer, is farm chores. I'm going to have some chickens, so it's getting out there and most farmers are animals first. You got to look after your fur babies first, right? It's kind of like the mom and looking after the babies first, kind of thing. I know that we definitely need to do the self-care, for sure, but a lot of times that feeding my fur babies is my self-care, right?
Yeah.
It's that loving on them, because their love is just so unconditional, and that feeds my soul right there, and then feed myself as I'm walking around doing some stuff. I'm not a sit down and eat a meal kind of person. I kind of, unless it's with friends, I make my meal, and then I kind of, hang out with my animals, or, put some stuff away. It is finding your routine. Like I said before, it's whatever routine, whatever time of the day that you need to do the things that are important to you. It's finding those important things, though. That's the first thing for me, is the consistency, is finding those important things. Now, a few things have changed recently for me, daylight savings times, but I'm also doing a course, and finding out, doing that awareness of self, right? That's kind of huge. And one of the things I have on my mirror is knowing yourself is the best way to love yourself. So figuring out your routine, that's one thing that is loving yourself. So just love yourself and figure out what your routine is. And if you need some help, I'm there to help.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Like, I know it's like the time goes by so fast when we're on here. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the specific habits or rituals that high performers and successful people have. Just maybe give just a couple of things that you have seen that some of these high performers out there have incorporated, and then go ahead and share with everyone how they can connect with you if they would like to work with you. And then we'll go around the room, and then we'll do our words of wisdom, words of encouragement. So, all right, Teresa, you are up.
Okay, with regard to high performers, I'll be honest, I don't think I really know any high athletic performers. I would say with a lot of the athletes, fortunately, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of the tennis stars. And what they do is they have trainers, they have specific things. And sometimes I think we look at those things and we feel insignificant because we can't do what they do. So I think with regard to high performance, I think high performance just has to be the individual. What's your goal? What do you want to accomplish? Do you want a trainer? Are you competitive in sports? If so, then you need a different routine than somebody like me who's just out there to have fun. So again, I think everything goes back to the individual. What are your needs? Know yourself. And like Audrey said, knowing yourself is the best way to love yourself. So again, we have to get to the root of it. The root of it isn't what Djokovic does on his routine for tennis. The root of it is, what can Teresa Palmer do for her routine? What satisfies me and what gives me my best life. So how can people work with me? I do have a website. It's www.wellbeinggal.com, all one word, WELLBEINGGAL.com. Email me. Right now I work with people privately with the holistic approach. A lot of people with heart problems. There's breath work you can do for palpitations. There's breath work for heart failure. There's things that we can do, because I always believe we can always do something to help ourselves. And I think especially when it comes to heart conditions, people kind of are a little bit afraid of things. So I also give their personal power back to them, so that when they go back to their healthcare professional, cardiologist, whoever it may be, that this way they're empowered to ask questions, to find out about treatments, and maybe change some of those treatments, stress management for high blood pressure, meditation. Again, I work with people from the inside out. So anybody who's willing to work from the inside out is a potential client. So that's what I would tell people. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. All right, Felicia. So what are those specific habits or rituals that high performers or successful people, swear by in their mornings that work for them? I know I did hear, I cannot think of the guy's name. He's a military man, but I remember him speaking about people making their bed. And high performers, a lot of successful people, they make their bed. Right? So like, even though I'm in my little tiny home, I try to make sure that I make my bed. So I know that is one of those specific things. So go ahead, Felicia. What are some of the things that you've learned that are specific habits or rituals for high performers or successful people?
Yeah, I love the making the bed. You're so right with that, but it's such a hard routine to keep. I'll be honest. I tried to do it and I felt good for a period of time, and then it was like, all right, I gotta stop. Like, I can't hold myself accountable to that one anymore, because this little toddler wants to come in, and as soon as you fix stuff, they're like, ah.
Yeah.
So they give you a great practice in patience for life, don't they?
Yep.
Like, they will get to the root of all your emotions, all the bad ones, on how you can manage or deal with emotional dysregulation. But the one that popped into my mind was visualization, which I feel like really came back. It still comes full circle with what Teresa and Audrey, when we're all talking about, like, taking that time for ourselves, because it's specifically Jack Canfield in his book, Success Principles. And he talks about, in one of the chapters, athletes who were physically training, like going to practice all the time. And then there were athletes that just meditated and visualized themselves doing it, like performing ideally, right? Doing the perfect shot, the perfect whatever it was. And they found that the people who weren't going to practice every day, but just meditating and focusing on visualizing the ideal outcome, were just as successful, if not more successful, because they had practiced it so much in their mind that they had the confidence to do it. Whereas I feel like probably the difference between those two is, like, almost because you can have the practice of failing too. Like, you have that consistency of, like, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Whereas in your mind, you can be consistently successful. So you're convincing yourself every day, like, hey, there's only one way, which is this way. And so that's something that came to mind for me, because even when at times, like, whether it's balancing my hormones or trying to lose weight, I know that just visualizing helped do so much in terms of hormonal regulation that it ultimately still accomplished the goal. And so, I guess the shameless plug you're offering us, right? How people
Yes,
can work with
please
me.
share.
So I have a 6-month program, Hormonal Harmony. And my whole focus is on helping women to balance those hormones, um, and to do it with self compassion and optimism. As you can tell, I'm all about having fun, and guiding them through a holistic hormonal health practice designed to prepare their bodies for, at one point, if they decide they want to get pregnant naturally or just feel amazing as women. That's the goal. Um, and so they can find me at freeasafeather.com/apply, where they can see all the details about that program, as well as apply for a conversation with me to see if it's the right program for them. In addition to, we also have a Womb of Peace membership where women can also come and get group coaching and support regularly.
Awesome. Thanks, Felicia.
Yeah,
All right, Audrey. What are those? What are some of those specific habits that you have seen some of the high performers or successful people swear by their mornings?
Well, two things come to mind, and Felicia kind of touched on it. Leaders are readers. Successful people are readers. They read the books, and so that they can quote the books, right? And then the second one is kind of what we're doing right now. Tune into podcasts and with successful people already. Be here. Come on in and listen to what we have to say. We're not totally, really in there successful yet, but we're getting there, right? Moving. And we will never get there. Successful people also realize that they're not as successful as they could be.
Right. They're always moving forward.
They're always striving. That's one of the other things is successful people are never there. They're always striving. They're always working on themselves, getting better. And then they reach their hand out and they help other people come along. So, yeah, those are my two things. Read and listen to other successful people who are further along in the success journey than you are. You can find me. The best way to find me actually is on WhatsApp. And it's 1-780-202-0649. That is the best way to get a hold of me. I do in my Facebook group. So if you look for my name exactly like that, Audrey with 2 E's and link on Facebook, and you look for Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, my post for this thing right now, then you will see that I have a survey going on. And I do once you do the survey, then I have some sleep programs going on. I have some metabolic programs going on, weight loss. I have stress, managing stress programs going on. So I help you where you need it. So once you do the health survey, then that's where I help you out with.
I love it. I love it. Look, everybody, you got a one-stop shop right here with Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, okay? Whatever you need to elevate your mind, body, and spirit is right here in the pages of our magazine, as well as all throughout our podcast, because you have probably seen Teresa and Audrey before. You're going to see a lot more Felicia, and we always have some pretty awesome and amazing information for you guys to be able to get physically, mentally, spiritually, and sometimes even financially fit. So before we close up today, I just want you all to just give your couple of words of wisdom, words of encouragement for everybody to continue to push through and just to continue to thrive and not just survive with their health and wellness. So, Teresa, what's your words of wisdom, words of encouragement for everybody?
It's very simple. Know yourself, love yourself, be self-aware, and be empowered. And that all comes through knowing yourself. Spend time with yourself, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, night, wherever it is. Sit quietly, no distractions, eyes closed. Focus on breathing in, taking a deep breath, and then slowly breathing out. You'll be surprised. It's not going to happen immediately because there's no quick fix. We like to think there is, but there really isn't. So just stick with the routine, treat yourself well, know that you're doing what's right for you, and listen to what's in here as well as what's up there. So that's my advice to people.
Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. Felicia, words of wisdom, words of encouragement. And then we'll close out with you, Audrey.
Yeah. I feel like I want to piggyback off of Audrey's last comment of finding someone to emulate or look up to. Because I think about it and it's like I feel like I forgot about it at one point, but even now, so because I'm like I can't quite remember some things, but one more recent thing, me as a mom with having a C-section, um, gosh, and I feel bad I can't remember her name right off the cuff, but she was um, an athlete that I remember her Nike contract was questionable when they found out she was pregnant.
Mhm.
And she took a picture of herself with all of her medals, and she had her C-section scar in the picture.
Mhm.
Um, and I had that as my goal picture because so many women were telling me like, you'll never get rid of that mommy pooch, and once you have a C-section, like that's it, and me as a health coach, I'm like, I rebuke that. Like, don't you be putting your curses on me. And so that I definitely agree with Audrey, and like find someone that looks like you that you can aspire to be. And what's even better is like she was older than me, like there's all these aspects that it's like there's no reason I can't do it. She may have money and resources, but I have education and wisdom, so we can get there. Between the two, we can figure that out.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Felicia. All right, Audrey, let's take us home. Heal.
Yeah.
Heal.
So heal, and you have the power within you. It's like Teresa said, kind of, and Felicia kind of touched on it as well. We all touched on it, is be aware of yourself, and you can heal. Like Felicia said, find somebody that, can walk the path with you, or that inspires you. And yeah, just, you can heal. You can heal from whatever it is.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so, so much, ladies, for joining me today for this Wellness Wednesday conversation. Everyone that is tuning in, whether it be live or on the replay, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your love and support. We are here for you. So if you have not subscribed to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine yet, go to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics mag2021.com and get your subscription. And if you are a health and wellness professional out there and you are looking for a platform that you can shine on and be able to also share your knowledge and wisdom to help people get their mind, body, and spirit right, go ahead and reach out to me and let's get you in the magazine and on this show as well. So we love you guys so much. Have an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.